Certainly. So, hello, everyone. We are not starting yet. We will start any moment. Just preparing the link for later. So at 5 o'clock we start. We have still a little bit of time left for action. Start. Oopsie. So it's updated. Wundervoll. So, hop. Okay, let's see if that all works like it should be. Can you share ist meine. Ups. Habe ich das gemacht? Okay. Na, 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 na. How can you guys send me questions? Yes, that was the challenge we had before already. That's why I went online earlier. You see, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Shoops. Now let's reload and see. Oops, yes. Ja, wundervoll, wundervoll. So I see already there are a few people already in the live stream. If one of you could write me if you can hear me, that would be wonderful. We start in about 50 minutes. I'm just preparing everything right now. If you like, write in the live chat if you can hear me. If you don't have a live chat, you simply need to reload the page because I had to manually allow that. That's why I went online early. For some weird reason, YouTube doesn't do this automatically. Ahmed schreibt, hey, I can hear you. Wonderful. That's great. Thank you, Ahmed. as I said, we start in about 13 minutes. I just have to prepare a few more things until we can get close. Yo. I think you can hear my children in the background. The little angels. Ach ja. Okay. Ja. Soll das noch machen?
Ist mein Handy bei dir?
Nicht, dass ich wüsste. Soll ich dich kurz anrufen? Ich bin aber schon live, ne? Okay, klingelt. Ach ja. So. Ach ja. So, ja, noch 10 Minuten. In 10 minutes we start. Basically, I think I prepared everything I need to prepare. Yeah. Okay, that works. Very good, very good. This works too. Okay. Where do I see your Chat-Nachrichten hier? Okay, gut. So, a few more things I can, ja, weiß ich. So let's see if you can see my slides. I noticed there's a delay between, by the way, I will speak louder once we start with the webinar. Right now I'm talking half to myself and half to you. I noticed there's a delay still between the broadcast. I see. Yeah, okay. Coffee, thank you. That's interesting. So you can see my slides. I should see my full-time slides as well. Okay, let mal. Yeah, so 7 minutes we have to kill and then we start. We just wait because at 5 o'clock I sent out a newsletter to my 25,000 subscribers, and then a lot of them will join, and then we can actually talk. And for those of you who are here already, I will give a very short presentation about why so many English-speaking professionals struggle to get job interviews in Germany. And of course, I offer a solution on how you change that based on doing this for 11 years now and having helped more than 100 international professionals to find a job here in Germany. 6 more minutes and then we start, and then we see each other again in 6 minutes from now on. Oh, he doesn't like when I mute. So I will be back in 1 minute. Ja. So. Gut, die brauche ich dann nicht mehr, weil ich weiß ja schon, dass ihr mich hören könnt. So, seid ihr noch da, ja? Wunderbar. Gut. Ja, kann ich sagen. Send. Schubs. So. Email is going out to my audience. Ja, da kommt. Very well. 2 more minutes, then we start at 5 p.m. sharp. Now it's 1 more minute. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you guys again. And of course, I will later take on questions as well. Yep, it's done. Das ging aber schnell. Why? That's weird. Okay. 1 more minute and then we will start. Five p.m. Welcome to the Expats Career Webinar. My name is Chris Pyak. I'm the author of How to Win Jobs and Influence Germans. You might have read about me in articles by the BBC, by Handelsblatt, Die Welt in Germany, the local Deutsche Welle, and many others. Because for the last 11 years, I've made it my business to help unusual people who are very talented to break into the German job market. So since 2011, I have helped over 140 international professionals who speak only English but not German to find their first job here in Germany. And today in this webinar, I have the goal to do 3 things. Number one, I want to explain to you why international professionals really struggle so much to get jobs in Germany or even get job interviews. And let me make it clear right from the start. The reason that you struggle has nothing to do with you. With you, there's everything fine. There's a very specific reason why you struggle, and I will explain what this reason is in this webinar today. Then, of course, I will offer a solution based on what I have been doing for 11 years now and what I know works, because it worked for my clients very successfully for 11 years. And I want to share with you why I am more hopeful than I have ever been since the pandemic started. Because something has shifted in Germany that didn't move at all for 10 years. It stayed the same for 10 years. It was a huge obstacle. And then the pandemic hit and something switched and things are going easier now, going better now. And I will explain to you what it is. Fair warning, this webinar today is a bit different from the webinars that I usually do. Because my point today is to sell you my services. I start the summer course for the Expats job offer miracle today. There are 8 seats that 8 people that I will be working with in this first half of the year. 5 of the 8 seats are already sold. There's only 3 seats left. So that's something I will talk about as well. And then, of course, I will answer your questions. Okay, I think we gave the latecomers enough time to catch up with us. Let's get started. Let's do the thing that we all wait for, PowerPoint. One moment. So let me share my screen with you. Bildschirm freigeben. I do this. And I think it's F5. Yes. Great. Yeah. Welcome to the Expats Career Webinar 2022, the first webinar in this new year. I do 2 webinars, usually one in January and another one in late August. Now it's January, as you can see when you feel how cold it is outside here in Germany. For those of you who have not met me before, my name is Chris Pyak. I'm a business coach and an author. I wrote a book called How to Win Jobs and Influence Germans. It's the Expats Guide to a Career in Germany. And the book is basically the main lessons I learned in 11 years that I have been helping international professionals to find their first job here in Germany. And over the years, I have spoken to thousands of international professionals. They have shared their struggles with me, their worries with me, and quite often also their self-doubts that they developed after getting rejection after rejection after rejection here in Germany. I will share with you today the main problem why English-speaking professionals don't get job interviews in Germany. And let me be absolutely clear, these have nothing to do with you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something broken in our system. And that's the main reason why it is so hard for you to get job interviews. Then, of course, I will offer you a solution based on 11 years of experience and more than 140, 150 expats that I already helped to find a job here in Germany over the last 11 years. I will share with you why I'm now more optimistic for international professionals than I have ever been, because something fundamentally has changed. And then I will go and sell you my services. The Expat Job Offer Miracle, the summer course, is starting on 1st of February, so in 5 days. From 1st of February till 15th of July, I work one-on-one with only 8 professionals that I work with in this time frame. There are 8 seats and 5 of them are already sold, so there's 3 seats left. And whoever will be the fastest will be the one who can secure the seats for themselves. Great. And then, of course, I will also take some time to answer your questions. Please wait with your questions till the end of the webinar. You can then put them into the live chat here on YouTube, and I will go through as many questions as I can. I kindly ask you really to wait till the end of the webinar, because a lot of the most common questions I will anyway answer already in the webinar. As I said, I do this for 11 years, so I know most of the concerns that you have on your heart. Okay, that said, let's get started, shall we? Yeah, that's me. That's me, how I usually look like in the years before COVID hit Europe. And then 2020 came and COVID came and we all locked up at home, couldn't go out anymore. This is how I looked at the end of the first COVID winter in 2020. My hair, I think I didn't have so long hair since I was 21. And I must say, I kind of enjoyed it. You know, it was fun. You see, it's now already growing again quite long. COVID, of course, has been a terrible tragedy for the whole world, and it has caused a lot of suffering, and it asked really a lot from all of us. But at the same time, it had one effect here in Germany that was long overdue. And that is that because of COVID, finally some reforms have started here in Germany. And German employer finally accepted that they have to change in order to stay competitive. And they finally start to realize that if you have to change, if you have to do things differently, then you cannot do this with the same people that you always hired. The German employers finally realize that they have to hire different people if they want to survive and thrive in a different kind of environment. And that's one reason to be hopeful as an international professional. And I will show you data from, I analyzed the complete German job market. I will show you data that proves that this is not only a hope, but it's manifesting itself in the way how employers look for employees now in Germany. As I said, the whole purpose of this webinar today is to invite you to use my services. I will be very frank and direct about this, like most Germans are. Every year I work with two groups of people. One group that starts now in February. With them, I will work one-on-one till 15th of July, if they don't find jobs earlier. And then with a second group, also 8 people from 1st of September till Christmas. And if you feel like you would benefit from someone personally working with you, someone that you can talk with, strategize with, someone who can advise you, and someone who can also open doors for you and introduce you to the managers that have the jobs that you are interested in, then you should definitely pay attention today. There are 8 seats for January. 5 of them are already sold. So at this time of recording, or actually of the live stream, there are 3 seats left only. And if you want to secure one of them, you should go to immigrantspirit.com/summer, immigrantspirit.com/summer. Also, in order to motivate you, each seat is more expensive than the previous one. So every time someone buys a seat, the next seat is more expensive. That's something you should know. So that's it. Let's get started, and let me show you how you break into this difficult German job market. And this is how it starts. Look at the little guy there with the red pullover and the toxic green trousers. That's me, somewhere in the 70s, I think, late 70s, early 80s, celebrating Carnival together with my friends. I'm German. I grew up here in Germany, went to German school, German university, had my first work experiences here in Germany. So I have one advantage over you, and that is that I really understand German culture, especially German business culture, and all the unspoken things that might help you or hinder you to get a job here in Germany. But at the same time, I'm also like you, because I also used to be an expatriate. For more than 10 years, I lived all over Europe. I worked in 5 different countries, in 5 different cultures. And after more than 10 years abroad, I returned home to Germany in 2011. And I was really, really shocked when I came home to Germany, how little the country had changed. That's one thing that really shocked me. And the second thing is, I was really shocked to realize how little German employers value international experience. Here you see me at the American Women's Club in Düsseldorf, where I'm talking about the struggle of international professionals to find jobs in Germany. And after I gave this speech, two women came up to me, and they were both crying because both of them had sent more than 50 job applications in 2 years and didn't get a single interview. And one of them had a degree from Cambridge, and the other one had a degree from Berkeley. So people who went to an Ivy League university, who had excellent work experience, still couldn't even get a job interview. And I even had in my career, a head of HR once told me that she couldn't consider a candidate of mine because she couldn't evaluate that foreign university degree. And that was also a degree from Cambridge. So if people like these, with this stellar education, with great experience, if they struggle to break into the German job market, and you struggle through despite your best efforts, maybe, just maybe, it is not your fault. Maybe there's something else that's wrong. And I will show you today what this is and how you overcome it, of course, as well. Yes, I mentioned before, after helping expats to find jobs in Germany for a few years, I collected all the things I learned, all the research I did, and put it into a book that you can find on Amazon called How to Win Jobs and Influence Germans. My German compatriots never get the joke because Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence Germans, is called different. How to Win Friends and Influence People is called differently in Germany. In German, it's all just called How to Win Friends. Yeah, you find it on Amazon, and it's basically a step-by-step guide to your first job here in Germany. And even though some details have changed over the years, the basic advice and the basic process is still sound, and it will still work for you. Yeah, if you research about Arbeitskräfte, Fachkräftemangel here in Germany, if you talk about how international professionals can be better integrated into the German job market, it's inevitable that sooner or later media will find you and they will ask you for your insights and your opinions. So over the years, I've been featured by the BBC, by Handelsblatt, Deutsche Welle, Haufe Personal, Die Welt, Zeit, and many, many other publications. For a while, I used to be on TV quite a lot as well because of my work that I do in order to help international people and immigrants to be more recognized here in Germany and their contribution to be more valued here in Germany. And so if you Google my name in Google News, you will find quite a lot about me, actually. So let's get into the small print, into the stuff that really keeps you from running through the wall that is blocking you. Let me formulate that a different way. Let me tell you what is the wall that you run against over and over and over, and you can't get through. I know from surveys that I do with international professionals that a lot of you have sent 50, 100, 150 job applications and don't get any job interviews, don't get any interviews. You often don't even get a rejection letter. And there's a reason for that. And the reason has to do with this picture that you see here. This is research by the Institut zur Zukunft der Arbeit. That's a government agency. And they wanted to find out how much prejudice is influencing HR people when they decide whom to invite for a job interview. So they found 1,500 job ads that are currently on the market at the time, and they sent out 3 batches of job applications. And all the job applications were absolutely identical. 1,500 CVs, and they were absolutely identical with the exception of 2 things. The experience, the education, the stations, different stations in their career, absolutely identical. But what they did, they changed the picture and they changed the name. So they sent out, you might know that in Germany, it used to be very typical that you send a CV with a picture of yourself. Nowadays, some companies still want that, other companies don't want that. It's not so common anymore, but it used to be that this was a standard feature. I'm personally against that because I know from experience, I have seen heads of HR who go to a list of applications like this. I don't like this picture. I like this picture. I don't like this picture. It says nothing about your qualification. Okay, I'm digressing. So they sent out 500 applications with the name Sandra Bauer, a typical German name, and the picture that you see here on the left. They sent 500 identical applications, and they left the same picture there, but they changed the name from Sandra Bauer to Meryem Öztürk. That's a name that's traditionally comes more from Turkish, but actually doesn't say anything about the citizenship of the person. So both people in this applications are German citizens. They are born here in Germany. They went to German school and university. They speak fluent German. The only thing that changed is the name. And then in the third batch of 500 applications, they changed the name to Meryem Öztürk, and they put a picture where the lady is wearing a headscarf. Otherwise, completely identical applications. So how did this affect the number of job interviews that each of these 3 candidates get? And keep in mind, these are not international people. These are German people who grew up here in Germany, whose German is flawless, who lived and worked and studied all their life here in Germany. So Sandra Bauer typically had to send a little bit over 5 applications to get 1 job interview. 5 applications meant 1 job interview. Meryem Öztürk had to send 7.5 applications to get 1 job interview. So she needed to send roughly 50% more application to get the exact same number of job interviews. And Meryem with a headscarf had to send 23 applications on average, for every job interview that she got. Which means that there were 500 samples in each of these blocks. Sandra Bauer got nearly 100 job interviews out of 500 applications that she sent. Meryem Öztürk got, let me do the math a little bit over 40 job interviews, 50, right? Am I right? No, that's wrong. 80, roughly. Mathematic, roughly 80 job interviews out of 500 applications, significantly less. And Meryem Öztürk, she basically had 23 job interviews out of 500, a drastically lower number. And that for candidates who are otherwise completely identical. And the job, by the way, was an accounting job where you don't face customers or something like that. So don't give me any excuses like, oh, she has to talk to customers. No. They are all perfectly good jobs and perfectly good candidates. So if they're all equally qualified, why does someone with a foreign sounding name have to send so much more job applications? Well, unfortunately, Germans, or we Germans, we are very uncomfortable with change. We are, as a general population, people who like to plan in advance, and we want to know what is happening, and everything that is unusual, we misinterpret as unsafe, dangerous. And that's something that that is keeping everybody away and keeping everybody down who doesn't fit into the ISO norm, or as we say in Germany, into the DIN norm. Now, for a German HR person, a typical German HR person, she tries to hire the last person who did this job. So for most jobs, the people who do them are white German guys who have a certain education, certain background, went to a certain kind of school, did a certain kind of things. And when the HR person is trying to hire someone new, because they don't actually know anything about the actual job, they try to find that exact same person. And if you are not a white guy in the mid-30s, yeah, then you have a problem. You have a problem if you are too young. You have a problem if you are too old. You have a problem if you are the right age, but oh my God, you are a woman and you just got married and you probably want to have children very soon. And of course, you have a problem if you don't speak German. So the problem is not you. It's that you deal with people in HR who mostly walk through life like this. They are looking like this. They are not willing to take any risks. So the solution, of course, is not that you try to look like these people. Because first of all, it doesn't work. No? And second of all, we have enough of these people. We have way more than we need, believe me. We need you not despite you being different. We need you because you are different. Because the world is changing, as we all know by now. And in order to survive in this new, in this different world, we need people who are different, who have different experiences, different backgrounds, and can solve a lot of diverse challenges. So please, please don't try to become like these people. Try to be yourself. And I really want to drive this point home because that's something, as long as you don't understand that, you will run against the wall over and over and over, because on the other side of that wall, there's someone sitting who is not playing fair with you. You see, unfortunately, in HR, HR attracts a certain type of people, at least here in Germany. And these are the people who usually would have gone into government. Their number one goal, their emotional need, is to be safe. Not their company to be safe. They personally want to be safe. They don't want to be criticized. So if your number one goal in life is to be safe, and then you come along and you are unusual, which Germans interpret as dangerous, unsafe, what do you think this HR person will do? Will they take a risk or will they avoid a risk? Of course, they avoid the risk and they reject you. Nobody ever gets blamed for saying, oh, there were just no good candidates. But if they would take a risk on you and you wouldn't work out, then they could be blamed. And that's a risk they are not willing to assume, because their job is not at risk if they can't find people. Yeah, as many people told me over the years, Chris, you are not a typical German, and that's right. Maybe it's because I lived in different countries and I saw how much more is possible and how different you can live your life successfully, and that you don't have to do everything only in one way. I believe that international professionals are a great asset to our country. Not only because our birth rate is so low that we need about 400,000 immigrants every single year just to maintain our workforce, but because your insight, your experiences, and this diverse field of backgrounds that all of you come from is exactly what makes people, companies, life successful in this 21st century. So I'm on your side every step along the way, because I believe that all of you have an immense contribution to make to my home country, Germany. And here's the good news that I promised you. And I will later show you data that proves that this is not just a feeling of my side. For 10 years, I analyzed the complete German job market together with a company called Textkernel in the Netherlands. And for 10 years, nothing changed. 1% of German companies hired in English. Just 1%. And then something happened in 2020. I can't remember what it was, but suddenly a light bulb went off in the heads of employers. And they realized that now they need different people because the world around them has changed drastically. And they also understood that they cannot find different solutions to new problems with the same kind of people. Here on this cartoon, you see the 5 guys who are all identical. In Germany, we have a saying called Hans stellt Hänschen ein. Hans hires Hänschen, little Hans. No? People tend to hire people who are exactly like them. And then they are surprised that they can't come up with new ideas. So German companies finally understand that this has to change. Let's think about what all of this means. So you know that when you send your application through HR, these people are not looking for something new. They are looking to be safe. And if you're different, they cast you out. You can send as many applications as you want. They take one look at your CV and you are out. The average German HR person spends 7 to 12 seconds evaluating a CV. And after the 7 to 12 seconds, they decide review or reject. And reject is the default. And if you are not immediately clear, when it's not immediately clear why you fit for the job, or if there's any questions about you, any uncertainty, they will reject you because better not take a risk. So what is the solution? The solution is to ignore HR and to talk directly to the people who are interested in your contribution, the people who actually have a problem to solve, who have goals to achieve, who have deadlines to meet. In other words, you need to talk to the people who are looking for the golden eggs that you can deliver. And this is not HR, this is the hiring manager, the person that you will report to if you get the job. That's the person, if you can get this person into a conversation, you have the chance of, sorry, my nose is closed. I have a little bit of flu. This person, first of all, they know the job, which is not true for HR. I can tell you after talking to thousands of them. They know what the biggest goals are that needs to be achieved in this job, what are the biggest challenges and why it is important to them. And if you can talk to them, you can find out what is important to them and then address specifically that thing that this hiring manager needs. And that's how you get your job interview and your job. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I do this for a long time. I do this now for 11 years, more than 11 years. And I get featured quite a lot in news outlets, lately by the BBC, also about the topic of Quereinsteiger, people who want to change their career. Because the problems that you have, they are extreme because you don't speak the local language. But even German people who are not exactly isonormed face this challenge. For example, if they want to change industry or if they want to change profession, it's the same story. You are different from what we have experienced, so we rather reject you than take a chance on you. The good news I want to share with you is this is really changing now. The number of German companies who hire in English went in 2021 from 1% to 4%. It quadrupled in 1 year after not moving at all for 10 years. Because now companies realize that, oh, we have to find new people. And I see this also in the feedback that I get from coaching clients. When the last course last year started, I got so many messages from former clients who now are on their next career step, who told me, hey, by the way, I have a second round of interview, I got third round of interview. Hey, this headhunter approached me, and so on, and so on, and so on. The last year January course was the fastest course I ever finished. Never ever have I experienced that from these 8 people, the majority got a job way faster than the course was actually supposed to run. No? There's always people who need the full time of the course and people who are very fast. But in January last year, the majority of people, they just found jobs very fast. And the reason is very simple. German companies have no alternative anymore. They fight so hard about skilled labor now, about professionals, that there are companies now who offer you money just to attend a job interview. And this is really helping you. If you are an international professional hoping for a career in Germany, times have never been better. If you know how to approach the companies and if you talk to the right people. Yeah, let me share this data with you. As I mentioned, I analyzed the complete German job market. This is a whole year of job ads. All the duplicates have been taken out. And what you here see is only full-time working jobs with unlimited contracts. So no internships, no part-time jobs, just full-time jobs. There were 8.7 million job ads. 8.7 million job ads during that year. And on average, these ads were online for 36 days until the position could be filled. So 8.7 million. How many of them were English? What do you think? 464,000. That's Pi mal Daumen, what, 5-6%. 5 or 6% of the job ads were in English. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the job itself was also in English. So if you don't speak German and you apply simply to the standard process to a German company, then that means that 94% of the jobs out there are off limits for you. No? Because you don't speak German. And you apply to the standard process. So the first person who sees your CV is a German HR person. And the first thing they see is that you are different and you are getting rejected. End of story. And you can play this game endlessly. I once had a client who was living in Kuwait, or I think it was Kuwait. And he sent 500 job applications before he hired me without even getting one single interview. And once he hired me, it took him 2 months to get a job here in Germany. He now moved on. He got promoted several times in the same company, and now he moved on to a different company. It's a few years back now. So sending out your standard application will not get you anywhere because you will be reviewed by people with a very narrow mindset. What you have to do is ignore HR, seek out a hiring manager and talk to them about their needs. And that's what gets you the job. And the hiring managers become more open now, luckily. And one thing that really helped employers to understand that you can do things differently was that because of COVID, people started to work in home office. Before COVID, the majority of people did not work in home office, and that wasn't even an option. After COVID, the majority of people works in home office, and it's the standard. And this statistic is from 2021. But now we are now in the Omicron wave, but now the percentage is even higher. And while in the middle of last year, many employers still had the idea that maybe one day we will return to the old way, this notion is dead now. They all understand that this is the new way how we all work together. And they finally understand that it's actually a benefit for them if people work remotely, because now you can hire the best people. No? Before COVID, companies would not invite you for a job interview because they would say, it's not worth to fly him to Germany just to interview him. Nowadays, everybody makes video interviews, and they hire you even via video. And if you need a visa to start working in Germany, and the visa takes 3 months or 4 months, no problem. You can work as a freelancer for them from your home office in your home country until you are able to work, which means that companies can hire you faster, you can start working faster, and that helps them to make the decision to start working with you. So things are getting better. As sad as COVID is, and I said this before, it's a real tragedy. Too many people have died an unnecessary death and have suffered unnecessary. But the small positive thing that came out of it is that it forced Germany to open their mind. And let me be clear, this new open-mindedness will not last forever. There will be a new normal at some point. And once this is established, that will not move until the outside world again forces us to change. And Germans are really reluctant to change, unfortunately. Yeah, as I said, I see that companies hire faster now and they hire more international professionals. And it has become a little bit easier if you find the secret ingredient that helps employers to trust you. And that is to talk directly to the manager, either by reaching out to them directly or through an introduction from my side. Yeah, which of course for me is a bit easier because I have a well-established name in Germany. I've been working with lots of well-known companies over the years. You might have seen my podcast where I interview German employers regularly about the English jobs they are offering. And one of the reasons why employers come to me is because they know there will be great candidates, and also because they trust me personally that I represent them fairly, but also ask the tough questions that you as an international professional want to understand before you apply for a company. Yeah, and some people are really successful, like Lisa, for example, just one example of many who used my methods to get not one, but 3 job offers so that she finally could choose from them. Yeah, which brings me to the end of the webinar, and I will open the floor up to your questions soon. But before I do this, I do this webinar with the clear intention to work one-on-one with you so that you get a job. And what I can do for you is basically 2 things. Number one, I can coach you one-on-one in Zoom coachings whenever you need them along the way to help you navigate the German business culture. I see so many times how people who are very well qualified kill their own chances of a job because they just don't know how to properly interact inside the German business culture. They're either, sometimes they are too harsh and sometimes they are not harsh enough, and they miss out opportunities, or they don't hear what Germans tell them between the lines, even though we are pretty much obvious most of the time. And that's something I can help you with. And the second thing I can help you with is that I will actually actively introduce you to the employers that you are interested in. And the way how this works is very simple. Every week during the time of this course, you will find 5 jobs that you are interested in, and you will find the managers behind these jobs. And I will show you how you find these managers. So I will help you to identify these managers, and then you do it on your own once you know the skill. And you will send these 5 jobs and these 5 managers to me every week. And then I will reach out to these managers on your behalf. And because I do this for a long time, I have an excellent reputation here in Germany. Roughly 34, 35% of these managers, they will be agreeing to having a conversation with you. So I approach them very transparently. I tell them, hey, I'm a business coach. I work with international clients. One of my clients is interested in a job that you have to offer right now. Would you be willing to have a conversation? And when the manager agrees, and roughly 1 out of 3 will do so, then I introduce you both on LinkedIn and then help you lead this conversation with the manager so that you can identify the manager's biggest pain point and address them specifically so that you're guaranteed to get a real job interview and then eventually I got a job. And this works very well. So my overall success rate over time is 87%. And one of the reasons why I am so successful is very simple. If you sign up in the first coaching session we have, I usually get a pretty good idea about the person I'm talking to, because I do this for a long time. And if I would feel that that you can't be successful, then I would there and then tell you and would rather refund you than to waste your and my time. So there are 3 seats left for this first course this year. There are 8 seats in total, 5 are sold, 3 are left. I invite you to sign up. Each remaining seat is more expensive than the previous one. And if you want to book your seat right now, you can go to immigrantspirit.com/summer. That's immigrantspirit.com/summer. And when you go there, you'll find a website that looks like this. Many of you have seen it already. And when you scroll down the website, then you come to this calendar here, and you have to scroll down a little bit in the calendar to see available dates when you can book a coaching session with me. Right now, there are still coachings free even on 1st of February. And you can book your first coaching there and then via the calendar. You pay the setup fee, and then the final fee you pay by 30th of January. And then we start working together. And hopefully by July 15, you have at least 1 job offer. And many of my clients, they actually end up having 2 or 3 different job offers to choose from. So that's what I can do for you. I invite you to go to immigrantspirit.com/summer now and sign up to the Expert Job Offer by Summer program. And I will spend now 50 minutes to answer your most pressing question. Have a last look at the website, immigrantspirit.com/summer. And with that, I'm back here. And now I will look at your questions and answer your questions. How do I get out of here? Now here I am. So let me see where you are. Wonderful. Lots of questions there already. Let's have a look. So, first of all, I haven't had a chance to do this. Hello, Ahmed, Alireza, Umesh, Saad, Leticia, Alena, MD, Almas, Mamanding, Walter, Luciano, Vanjiku, Abdul, and Plantix. Yeah, feel free to send me your questions now, and I will pick the most pressing ones. Yeah. Oh, Vanjiku. Okay. Jacqueline, how do you see the possibilities for a business consultant that has no experience in big companies, but only in small companies in the home country, but lived and studied in 5 different countries with B2 German? Yeah, there are different kinds of business consultants. What specifically is what you're doing? That's the question. Consultancies are always difficult. No? For example, I'll give you an example, SAP consultants, they usually get job offers all the time in Germany. They get like 2-3 job offers per week. But as soon as you're not absolutely fluent in German nobody's interested in you anymore. No? So consultancy itself, it has the benefit that that it's a communication strong business, which sounds counterproductive because your German is B2. But it means that you can prove your point. I would need to know a little bit more about your background in order to really give you advice. I invite you to write me an email, sign up to my newsletter, and then you have my email address. Write me an email and send me a link to your LinkedIn profile, and then I can give you more specific feedback based on your actual profile. I'll ask you advice on building international career in Anglo-Saxon companies and then migrating to US. I don't know, if you want to live in the US or in Canada, I would not make the diversion to Germany. I would simply apply directly for jobs in Canada and the US. It's in many ways easier than coming to Germany. So I don't think you need this detour. If your ultimate goal is to work in the United States, work in Canada, apply for jobs there directly. Sarah, I'm a marketing manager in theater, arts, charity sector, but I don't speak German. Is it possible to get a job in this sector? And would you take on clients who work in this sector? Difficult question. That's a really difficult question. Where would be jobs for you would be I think with artists and organizations that have an international focus. No? If it's just regional or local, or even only nationwide here in Germany, that will be very difficult for you. Unless you have some really unique skill you can bring to the market. If it's an international company or an organization, then yes, I could see that. I also invite you, send me a link to your LinkedIn profile via email so that I can have a look at your background. I have to think about this a little bit. I don't want to say yes to you if I'm not sure that I can actually deliver on my promises. So I would like to have a little bit closer look and then tell you, yes, this can work or this cannot work out. Vaniko, I want to work a software development team in my company, and I already work in customer service. That's an interesting question. That's a bit unusual. You have a big benefit. They know you already. So the way how I would try the transition into software development is I would volunteer for small projects that they have. You know what's going on inside the company. You know when they have time pressure, when delivery timelines come closer, when they need to finish projects up. When this kind of stuff happens, when they have pressure, offer them to jump in and do some extra work to ease their burden. So they get to test you and experience you on a small project. And when you deliver that well, then you can propose a second project. And then you can propose, hey, I actually want to work here full time. So the funny thing is that the same HR person who will reject an outside candidate because of non-fitting background for a position will gladly get someone who is already working in the company to start this new position because, hey, he will figure it out. And you know why that is? Because they know you already. They already trust you. That's why my method is so successful. Because instead of just being a CV on a computer screen, I introduce my candidates personally to the managers that have these jobs to offer. And they can have a conversation with each other. And they can talk to each other and they can build trust. In the end, that's all about trust. Almas has B2 level German, very good, works in Allianz, wants to switch to an Anglo-Saxon company here in Germany and then move to the US in 5 years. Yeah, okay, if that's your plan, you should do that. I mean, you already have a job in Germany, so that makes it much easier to transfer, no? So go out there, apply, and if you already speak German, you can also use a headhunter, no? Yeah, look, I would analyze what kind of jobs are out there right now in the companies that you are interested in, and have a portfolio of companies that you would consider, at least 20. No, and then I would identify the jobs that you're interested in, then identify the people who are working in this department and build a relationship with these people, and not go to the general channel, even though that might work in your case because you already speak German. But instead, build a relationship with the people who are working in the department that you're interested in, and then use that to transition. So have like a 5 months time horizon to make that change happen. And I can help with that, of course, if you want. If it's possible, I like to ask you my question in German. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Abdul, 7 years of experience, accounting and finance. Difficult, really difficult, because if you work in accounting, you need to understand the tax laws, and Germany has the most complicated tax laws in the world. Just across the border here, I live near the Dutch border, there's the European Museum of Taxation, and they have all the collections of tax laws all over the world, and a quarter of their floor space is just German tax law. It's super complicated. And if you don't really in depth understand German language, sorry, my nose, then how will you advise your clients? So if your goal is to work in Europe and Germany, you would probably have to find a way to transition into a related field where German is not required. Accounting itself is a huge area with huge labor shortage. No, they are looking for accountants everywhere, but of course you really need to understand German for that. To give you an idea about the background, most accountants who have run bigger companies here in Germany are people who used to work for the government. So they really know in detail not only how the tax laws work, but also how the tax office is working. Okay, I think we have time for maybe 3 last questions. Someone wanted to ask me a question in German. Go ahead. Don't be shy, people. I will wait, say, another 60 seconds. If nobody wrote a question, then we are finished for today. And I thank you all for joining. But if you send more questions, then I will answer the next 3 ones. So, Mamdin, hello, Mamading. Agree to 100%. Very complicated tax system here in Germany. Yes, indeed it is. Yeah, good. Yeah, if you don't have any questions left, then I thank you all for the time you spent here today with me. If you want to, Kiran, hey, Chris. Hello, Kiran. If you have a question, you have to be very fast. Otherwise, I'm... Okay. Abdul, 4-5 years experience accounts. Kiran, one question. Go ahead. One moment. Okay. Whoops. Do you have previously advised me to bypass HR? The next hurdle appears to be the person answering the phone. They often speak poor English, or they refuse to connect me with the hiring manager. Yeah, Steve, cold calling very seldom works. Now that's not what I mean when you say you should bypass HR. So what you do instead is you go to LinkedIn and you try to identify the person who is the hiring manager for the job that you are interested in. Or at least you try to find someone who is in the same team. And if you know how to do this, it's not so complicated. And then you reach out to that person on LinkedIn with a personal message. Never just a contact request. They get rejected. You have to use a computer for that, because on your mobile phone, you can only send contact requests without messages. But if you use a computer, you can send a message with your contact request free of charge. So you should send a well-crafted message with a contact request to the hiring manager that you identified, or to someone in their team that you identified. And then it doesn't work in every time, but on average, 1 out of 3 or 4 should accept your contact request. And then you can state your case in a chat and use the trust that you built in the chat to then get that person on the phone. Simply cold calling someone out of the blue, that's not going to work. If it would be the other way around, someone cold calls you out of the blue, you would also not be willing to talk in most cases. No, it's like dating. You don't go to a girl and immediately propose to take her home. Then you first make a compliment to her, and then you show some interest in her life and in her needs, and then you take her out to a nice dinner, and then hopefully you can take her home at one point. No? So you have to build trust over time. Ali Reza, ich bin ursprünglich Perser. Ich habe im Iran Chemie studiert und in Deutschland habe ich Verfahrenstechnik studiert. Nach ungefähr 14 Jahren aus familiären Gründen bin ich nach Teheran zurückgekehrt. Okay, und was ist die Frage hier? So Ali Reza writes, I'm from Iran. I studied chemie in Iran, and in Germany I studied something technology. I don't know the English word, I'm sorry. And after 40 years, I returned to my home country. But there's no question. Ali Reza, ask me a question. Yeah, okay. Now I'm 45. How is my chance to work in a German company? Ich spreche Deutsch mit Herz und Seele. Gut, würde ich sagen. Also du weißt ja selber, wenn du 14 Jahre hier gelebt hast, wenn man ein bisschen älter ist, wird es schwieriger. Aber in den MINT-Berufen ist ein extremer Mangel. Ne? So, derselbe Rat funktioniert für dich wie für andere Leute. Und das ist, ignoriere HR, ne, weil in den meisten Fällen, sagen wir mal ehrlich, die wissen gar nicht, worum es geht in irgendeiner Stelle, sondern such den Abteilungsleiter oder die Abteilungsleiterin und nimm Kontakt mit der auf über LinkedIn und baue ein bisschen Vertrauen auf und dann versuch diese Person von LinkedIn in ein Telefongespräch zu bekommen, damit du dann herausfinden kannst, welche Ziele und welche Probleme dieser Manager konkret jetzt gerade hat. Und dann kannst du mit deiner Erfahrung, garantiere ich dir, no matter what kind of problem they have, no matter what kind of challenge they face or goal they face, in your long career, you already faced these problems. And you will be able to share experiences where you solved a similar problem. And that makes all the difference. Because you are a professional yourself. I guarantee you, if someone talks to you, within a few minutes, you know if this person knows their shit or if they're talking bullshit. If you need some help, I'm willing to help. Let me know. You can sign up for the Expats by job offer. Expert job offer by Summer Miracle. Great. So, Kiran, last question. Try to understand for a moment. 16 years IT experience, very good. 3 interviews on Zoom, great job skills, but I didn't get through. Hey, you said it yourself, you got 3 interviews. So there is interest in your skills. With you, it's probably just a question of persistence, not to reach out to more companies, get more job interviews. And in the job interviews itself, the typical challenge when you get this far and then you don't go farther is somewhere along the way, they have you have not discovered their objections to hiring you. And that's something that I can help with to learn how you identify their biggest needs and how you identify their hidden objections. Because the job interview is really the only time that you can address these objections. Afterwards, it's over. You can never change their mind anymore. Great. So that's it for today. We went a little bit longer than I planned. Thank you very much for joining today. I would be very glad if I see 3 of you as my new coaches from 1st of February. If you want to sign up, I post the link in the live chat here. And I hope we talk again. See you all. Bye-bye.